Hey, goodness to you. It's Sporty King. And I always say goodness because I don't know whether you're watching morning, afternoon, or evening. But isn't it great to have good in front of your salutation? Look, I'm on early for Glue Wednesday. Of course, if you're watching the video, you don't need to worry about that. But just in case you do come on live and in person, and I haven't, and it seems like I haven't started yet, it's because I always get on 5 minutes early to give the Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube a chance to do what they call build the audience. So it's personal choice when you're doing live broadcasts. And I like to remind people, I like to give tips, by the way, along as I do broadcast and use technology. Excuse me. And so you may send a reminder that you're coming on live at 1, but someone may click it on at 1 and they say, oh my God, I got to get the sport. So I come on 5 minutes early. So I can also do the shout out. So I see I got some love. I got a love emoji up there. Put your name in the chat. Let me know where you're calling from, where you're viewing from, so I can let people know that, because since I'm going across 3 platforms, the people on LinkedIn and YouTube won't know the comments that were given by people on Facebook, and vice versa for all 3. So I love to put the comments and then I give you a shout out, clicking on and let everybody see where your comment is coming in from. So we've got less than 4 minutes to go for today's message. So you can sit tight or quickly go run and get some water or whatever you need to do and be ready for the message. But again, this is because Wednesday is my interactive day. I broadcast Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday is the Monday morning moment, and it's just a 1 to 2 minute taped message of inspiration. Friday is what I call Gift Friday, and that's where I'll read one of my original poems and gift it to you as so that you can have it for your inspiration. And so both of those are not interactive, but this day, Wednesday, where I do Glue Wednesday, is my interactive day. So again, if you want to put your name and any kind of comments you want to put in the thread, and so I can put those out. And man, hey, what's going on, Michael Fleming? Good to see you, man. Because I just saw you click on something. Michael's coming in from LinkedIn. See, and that's not always something we get. I was about to say, I just saw you click on something that I had posted in LinkedIn. So it was good to see you and have a flashback to the joy and blessing we had and we shared when we worked with the kids at the National Black MBA Association. So God bless you. Please hang in there. And that's coming in. Michael, where are you, in New York? Uh-oh. Give me the state, okay? And then Daphne coming in. Happy Glue Wednesday, family, coming in from Chicago. And that's right. We call it a family because we've got our regulars who are on there making comments, and I thank you and appreciate you. And you'll hear more about them in a second, how you can join us. You can't hear? Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay, what do I need to do? I thought I had it on. Aha. Ooh, thank you, Daphne. I just saw that I had the wrong speakers on. My God, I did the test and it said I had the right ones. Okay, come back to me, thing. Come back. Here we go. Oh, man. Woo. Okay, wait, okay, I put it on in here. All right, speakers. See? You lied to me, StreamYard. Here we go, speakers. Okay, boom. Can you hear me now, Daphne? Let me know. I know you meant can't, but can you hear me now? Let me see if you can hear me now. But apparently, Michael heard me saying, so maybe that's weird. So the volume, it worked for LinkedIn, but it didn't work on Facebook. So Daphne, check your settings. Even though what I'm seeing something is telling me that it's not, that I don't have it coming in properly from Facebook. So what else do I need to click on? Michael, give me another shout. Yeah, Michael, like I said, he said he's coming in from New Jersey. I mean, he heard me ask. Daphne, did you hear me ask? Boy, no, we don't. Technical difficulties. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Okay, we're all done with those. All right. Well, anyway, let me see what you got, Daphne. Anybody coming in from Facebook? Because we got less than a minute to go for the message. Ooh, and I got to get it right. And it's telling me that I have it right. Still, Daphne, nothing. Michael, give me another thing and let me know if you can hear me, so I can know that for sure. Can you hear it yet, Daphne? Okay, let me do a refresh and see what happens. I'm going to reload and see what happens. Here we Okay. All right. Did it hear? Oh, okay. Okay, Daphne, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? And I lost Michael, so I gotta hope he'll come back in from LinkedIn. But the Facebook user, it just says Facebook user. So now I don't know who that is. But hey, uncle, hey, niece or nephew. And I hope Michael comes back in from LinkedIn. But can y'all hear me? Can you hear me now? That was what the problem was. I had to refresh the page and see what happened. So let me know that you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up or no, thumbs up won't work. I need you to put it in the chat. Let me know you can hear me. Okay, Victor, real good to see you. I can't hear either. Still can't hear. Oh my goodness, we can't have this. We can't have this. Let me see. What else can I do? What else can I do? I've got this. The settings are telling me that I'm doing it fine. The speaker, it says that my speakers are on properly. It says, okay, let's see what we got here. It's me, your nephew, Ja. Oh, good. Okay, Michael. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for coming back. Okay, and Ja must have heard me because he clicked in the check back in shortly. I can hear. Oh, okay, Vic, now you can hear. Okay, woo. Man, whoa, see technology, but teamwork. It takes a village to do a broadcast. Y'all heard that saying before, right? Oh, man, it looks like everybody, and David is saying, I can't hear you. So David, does that can or can't? That's interesting. David's on Facebook. It seems like people that come in, let's see, where was Ja coming in from? Ja was coming in. Ja was coming in from Facebook, and he said, "And I can hear you well." Okay. Vic says he can hear me, so that's interesting. So if you're on Facebook, David said definitely can. You can. Thank you, and welcome, David. Thank you, and also welcome, Jocelyn. Thank you. Okay, good. I don't know if y'all know, we had a quick technical difficulties where the sound wasn't working, but we are in place. Let us begin to roll. So goodness to you, as I always like to say, and welcome. I say goodness because I don't know whether you're watching morning, afternoon, or evening, but I call it Glue Wednesday because so many times people refer to Wednesday as Hump Day. All right, so here's a little history on Hump Day. Hump Day first appeared in the 1960s in North America. It's an idiom, and the term actually was mostly done in the business offices. Hump Day is based on the idea that the work week is a mountain that one must climb. The general office work week is Monday through Friday, consisting of 5 days. So this puts Wednesday in the middle or at the peak or the hump of the work week. So Monday and Tuesday are the climbing days of the week and are therefore psychologically difficult to get through. Wednesday is the highest peak of this climb up a proverbial mountain. The thinking goes that if one can make it to Hump Day, then Thursday and Friday are an easy slide into the weekend. Well, I've decided that Wednesday is the middle of a traditional 7-day week, regardless of when you work. So therefore, it's the day that keeps the week beginning and the week end together. And that brings me into my favorite pose, the Prayerful Pose. And that's why I've called it glue. It's the day that brings the weekend together. It's the glue. So I call it Glue Wednesday, Glue. God's love undoes everything. Not that it tears things apart, but whatever has been torn apart, it will glue it back together. It will undo that tear and fix it. Let's see if we got another shout out now that I'm back. Okay, and Bruce is now back in there with us too. So good. It's good to see all of y'all. And that's why, because I like to get those little shout outs and click-ons, and I do that as I continue through the message. So be ready, y'all. So here we are with Glue Wednesday. Today, I'll rekindle what I call the gas, and that is the Glue Alphabet series. where each message features the next letter in the alphabet with words suggested by last week's viewers. This week's message will feature the letter G. And so I call the people who send me a word with the next letter, I call them my co-authors. So my co-authors with the letter G this week are Daphne Francis, who gave me the word genuine, Victor Morris, who gave me the word great, Rogercarole Rogers, who gave me greed, and she got greedy and gave me 2 words, gracious. And then also Lorenzo Clemons, who gave Gregarious, Zytiin Thornton, who gave me glory, Tina Saulsbury, who gave us gorgeous. And then our first-time contributors and co-authors, Cecilia Mowatt, who gave me gratitude and gain, greedy with herself. And then Veronica Magazine gave me glorious, and Bob Froehlic gave me graciously. And all of these to create the message, to create today's message. So what you'll end up seeing is the co-author's name and word as I smoothly weave them into the message. See, all of those are words that I'm going to get into the message, but I won't say, oh, there's that word. What you'll do is you'll see me calmly right across the bottom. It'll just show the word and the co-author's name, and I'll keep on rolling through the broadcast. And then you will notice that at times I'll use a version of the word rather than the actual word. What I call my guiding scripture today is from Romans 8:24 through 25. But if we look forward to something we don't have yet, we must wait patiently and confidently. And see, with that guiding scripture, I will create today's message, the blessing cycle. The blessing cycle. And it's half of the formula attached to the glorious, I think to the glorious love of God that we have to know that we have. Okay, I got to go back because I messed up. Y'all don't know how I messed up. Don't worry about it. Okay, well, let's go back. So, okay, there's our guiding scripture. Okay, it's Romans 8:25. So the message is called the blessing cycle. And the blessing cycle, there are 4 stages to it. And so we're going to look at the formula according, and there we go, the blessing cycle, according to God's glorious gift. Give me a second, y'all. You see, I don't have my glasses on. I'm trying to do this time. The blessing cycle. Okay, it's half attached to the. Oh, okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. Ready. Okay. All right. Okay. So the glorious gift. Okay. The glorious love of God. That's what the blessing cycle is, attached to the glorious love of God. And so, in fact, I like to say that the Bible has no good stories. It has great endings and blessings. And that's the glory of what we have to recognize, that the Bible has no good stories. It's all great endings and lessons as you read each of the different books in the Bible. So what you'll find is that the blessing cycle is actually like this. In each book of the Bible, you get problem, faith, patience, testimony. That's the blessing cycle. Problem, faith, patience, testimony. And those books that don't have that cycle are used to explain the application of the blessing. So today, I'm going to replace faith with prayer so that we will get problem, prayer, patience, and testimony. So I'm going to replace faith with patience. Yet, I'm still going to start, I'm still going to start with the problem. Now, have any of you ever had a problem? Rhetorical question, right? But let me parallel problems to recognize that problems are stress, can be actually be stress, and introduce you to 2 types of stress. You have real stress and perceived stress. I want you to put some things, this is our interactive, put some things in the chat that stress you or other people out in general. So put some things in the chat that either stress you out or just stress other people out in general. Doesn't have to be you, okay? And while you're doing that, I'll put in a few, while you're typing, I'll put in a couple what has the definition of real versus perceived stress. You see, real stress is I'm late and I can't find my keys. Perceived stress is my spouse is late. They must be in a car accident. So you're putting in the chat something that you feel is either that stresses you out or that generally stresses other people out. And I'll click those on and we'll see what we can talk about. But there we see the definitions of real stress. I'm late and I can't find my keys. Perceived stress. My spouse is late. They must have been in a car accident. What we got here? Vic. Okay, why are they ignoring the climate change? So people ignoring climate change could be a stressor. That's what's stressing some people out. And it's either stressing the people out who are ignoring it because they say, well, you know, we don't need to be bothered with this, or the people who say, why aren't you paying more attention? And that's stress of, you know, why are you ignoring the climate change? What else have we got for stress? What, two more things, and then I'll move on with what I got prepared. Just like at the game shows. You don't have to type a whole sentence, y'all. Y'all can put a word in there. And by the way, this is a great time to mention, even if you're watching the video, you could still put something in, because what we like to do is see a collection of thoughts and ideas from different people. And sometimes just seeing that, oh, wait a minute, so-and-so was thinking the same thing that I did. That's comforting, and that can be a stress relief as well. Because sometimes it is real and perceived stress where we think that nobody else is going through what we're going through. And that becomes the perceived stress, by the way, because we think that nobody else is going through something we're going through. But the truth is, they may not be going through what you're going through. I always tell people, I've never walked in your shoes. I don't know exactly what you're going through, but I sat in your row. Because we've all been through something and we're all going through something. So that's why I say it's also, you know, I may not know what you're going through, but what your stress is, but I understand that you have stress because I've been through it as well. Bruce talks about the safety of children. That's the stress that people may be thinking about, especially if you're parents, but you don't have to have maternal children. You don't have to be a parent. So, you know, for instance, the guy who I mentioned who's on LinkedIn, Michael Fleming, and he was one of the mentors that used to bring a group of teenagers to the National Black MBA Association from New Jersey every year at their annual conference. And so his concern was for those children's safety, as he was the chaperone in charge of them. And now again, move that on. Michael does have sons, but still you don't have to have children to be concerned about the safety of our children. A lot of us talk about how, you know, if you connect that to what Vic was saying about climate change, see, that's going to impact our children of tomorrow, their safety as well. See, so that's what I'm saying. Sometimes the things connect. All right, so I'm going to move on and just again give you those two samples of real versus perceived stress. So because I want you to see, you know, can you see the difference? See, it's going to take time to find the keys, causing me to be late. So that's the real stress. But the spouse could be late for any number of reasons. The traffic was slow. They took a wrong turn. You know, maybe they can't find their keys. See, so that's perceived stress. That second one, my spouse is late. They must have been in a car accident. That's also called a negativity bias, where we instantly go to a negative scenario of what's happening instead of thinking about a positive one. In fact, I had one last weekend. I was speaking with some Air Force Guard people in Ohio, and we had a situation where one of the airmen, a female, after lunch, she didn't come back to the sessions. So we were wondering, where was she? Did she duck out? And you know, because they scan people in. So, but instead of us saying, okay, she ducked out, we're going to ping her for it, we have immediately said, let's hope she's okay. And you know what? As it turns out, she's 10 weeks pregnant, and she did not feel well. And after eating lunch, she had some stomach problems. And so she told somebody, her supervisor, and she left and went home. So therefore, you know, that's the thing. The first thing we thought about was her safety. And that's one of the ways you can combat your stress. And you know, and because it can start out as perceived, but you know, it can be real. but you want to start it out as, and recognize, yeah, we got that negativity bias. We instantly go to that. Oh my God, my so-and-so is late. They must have been in an accident. No, so-and-so is late. I hope they're okay and that they'll be here any minute now. All right. So that's the key that we have to look at. Okay. I hope you see the difference. Now, clinically, also, by the way, the definition of stress is that when things become too much, overloaded, too much pressure, worry, anxiety. I'm sure you can see that those are things that'll be stressful, and you could have put some of those in the chat as well. But adding a touch to that is what I learned during my stress mastery training. I was trained as a certified stress education master, stress education trainer through Dr. Heidi Hanna with the American Institute on Stress. And what she said, it's when demand exceeds capacity. See, we can handle a certain amount of things, all of us, right? Oh, I can handle things, but it's stress comes, nothing comes in once. Don't we say I'm overloaded? I got more than I can handle. That's where that's the demand on us versus our capacity. Maybe we can handle 3 things, and then when we get 4, that's when we feel overloaded or stressed out, as the term would go. So that's an easy way to think of it, is when demand exceeds capacity. Now, we consistently hear people like me say that your greatness is in your power to handle far more than you think you can. And we've used that as motivation to push ourselves forward to accomplish a worthwhile goal or to get over a situation. But we never said it would be easy. It's not easy because stress is caused by all the things that you've listed and the things that I've mentioned. And what they're called stressors. We're exposed to them every single day. And so, and they can have a gratuitous, and when I say gratuitous, I'm not talking about a wonderfully done free exchange, but I'm talking about, as you'll see, a possibly uncalled for impact on our lives, on where'd I go? Uncalled for impact on our body, our mind, and our emotions. So let me restate that sentence. Stressors, we're exposed to stressors every day, and they can have a gratuitous impact on our body, mind, and emotions. Now, a bigger part of the challenge is when they attack multiple areas of your life. See, as I mentioned, stress can be real or perceived. Okay, commercial break, by the way. A quick word from our sponsor to remind you that we are substituting the word stress for problem. And now back to our program. But let's bring back the word problem. Let's bring back the word problem and recognize that we can't control everything that happens to us. We can control how we perceive what's happening to us. Our perception of a situation is impacted according to the messengers we've grown up with and those we surround ourselves with, which could mean the new ones strengthen any gain in the lessons from the old or replace them. And since we're connected in this broadcast through God's love, we can flash back to some people who seem to have a problem. But we won't go far because our source is the Bible. And it's a little too big and chock full of examples that won't let me get through this enough. Okay, so we'll just go to a place called the beginning. We'll go to a place called the beginning, which is what Genesis means. And Genesis is a noun. It's the origin or mode of information of something. We got that from good old Dr. Google, all right? And you see, we'll see that Adam, Noah, and Joseph had real or perceived problems. But let me stop for a second and get a comment. Okay, good. Okay, because Cecilia just dropped in the father's definition. Stress is our reaction to circumstance. I always say mind over matter. You don't mind. If you don't mind, it won't matter. And it's also, by the way, that's linked to one of my favorite definitions of stress is if you don't like the way things are, change the way you look at them. Right. So if you don't mind, that it won't matter. So if you don't like the way things are, change the way you look at them. When you change the way you look at things, people change the way they look at you. And all of that is a part of stress. So thank you, Cecilia, for dropping that in, and welcome aboard, because I didn't have you in there before. Great. Oops, what did I just do? Pull me back, Sporty. Thank you very much. Here we go. All right. All right. So Adam, we're going to some samples of stress. Adam, Noah, and Joseph had real or perceived stress. Okay. And we're going to go backwards on that. We're going to go Joseph, Noah, and Adam. So taking them backwards, you see, Joseph's problem, there was that he was so blessed that others perceived him as a problem. Now, had you ever noticed that the word others is 6/8 or 3/4 of the word brothers? His brothers sold him into slavery to a group of Ishmaelite traders who, when they got to Egypt, sold him to Potiphar, the captain of the palace guard, who was also a member of the personal staff of Pharaoh. Potiphar's wife thought Joseph was gorgeous, but when he wouldn't sleep with her, she lied that he had tried to rape her and had him thrown into jail. So do we have a problem for Joseph? Others and the wife were his first problems. Yet it was while he was in jail that things started turning in his favor, beginning with the chief jailer putting him in charge of all the other prisoners and over everything that happened in the prison. There he later met Pharaoh's chief cupbearer and chief baker, who were thrown into jail for offending Pharaoh. Joseph interpreted their dreams of freedom and asked only that the cupbearer graciously put in a word for him when Pharaoh restored him to his position. However, as some of you know, the cupbearer did not do a thing for 2 years. But when he did, Joseph showed up and showed out. He interpreted Pharaoh's dreams, was right, and became the second most powerful man in Egypt. Now, without remembering all of those details, what more people remember Joseph for is how through his blessing cycle, he would state the testimony that so many of us use that's found in Genesis 50 and 20. As far as I'm concerned, God turned what you meant for evil into a blessing. God turned into good for what you meant for evil. That was the blessing cycle that Joseph went through. His others, his brothers, the wife, the accusation, the prisoners, the cupbearer, the baker, the waiting, and then the cupbearer finally identifying him, and Pharaoh bringing him up, him doing the right thing, him getting the testimony. And that's the way we tend to mostly remember Joseph. For what you meant for evil, God turned into good. Now, that's one down. Noah's problem was that he was a loner. Genesis 9 says, Noah was a righteous man, the only blameless man living on earth at the time. And now the Bible I read is called the Touch Point Living Bible. And what it does, it gives modern day analogy to scripture so that you can have an easier time of understanding the scripture and get it and really connect to what the message is about. So different parts of scripture get what they call a touch point, similar to a concordance, where it explains it a little deeper. Not every scripture gets a touch point. But as it turns out, this one, Genesis 9, Genesis 6 and 9 does have a touch point, and the touch point is trust. I'm going to read the touch point of trust to you. And here we go to the glasses because I'm reading straight from the Bible. Trust. God told Noah, and this is, by the way, this is Genesis 6, 5 through 22. But I'm not reading the whole scripture. I'm reading the touch point. God told Noah to build a boat in the middle of the desert. We would forgive Noah if he couldn't resist asking, Lord, do you think we could wait on this project until we see a weather report or at least a couple of clouds? But Noah trusted God enough to obey even when it didn't make sense. God tells us that giving is better than getting, that serving is more fulfilling than being served, that the way to joy and happiness is by obedience, and that salvation is by faith and not good deeds. None of these principles make much sense to us, but Noah saw the sense of God's instructions when those first big drops began to spatter in the dust. The next time your faith feels out of place in a world oblivious to God's warning, remember that the ark was built by obedient trust. The ark was built by obedient trust. In other words, I like to say, will you be in position to complete your blessing cycle and heed God's words to Noah's family, which came in Genesis 8:16, where he said, leave the boat, all of you. Will you be patient enough to get to that cycle? That was Noah's stress. And then before boats were even built, Adam had a relationship problem. His relationship with Eve moved him to a challenge in his relationship with God and gave the devil seemingly a victory. Yet I say that just as the letter A is a setup for the alphabet, Adam is the setup for the patience and prayer that weaves through every book to get to Revelation 2 and 7, where we'll see the lesson in the ending of God's words from Genesis 2 and 17, where he said, you may freely eat any fruit in the garden except fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. If you eat of its fruit, you will surely die. You see, in Genesis, the devil provides the problem that we run into, because he says, oh, you won't die. God knows that your eyes will be opened when you eat it. You will become just like God, knowing everything, both good and evil. And the devil says that in Genesis 3, 4 through 5. When we don't have the faith to listen to the creator of the cycle and patience to wait on his timing for the testimony intended, we believe what the devil just told Eve. And that's what happened. But while God reminds you not to stress yourself out, but change your perception of most of your problems because he is in charge of time, you need to patiently read 64 other books to find out why God actually gave us Genesis 2 and 17. You may freely eat any fruit in the garden except fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. If you eat of this fruit, you will truly die. Well, in Revelation 2 and 7, God says, everyone who is victorious will eat from the tree of life in the paradise of God. If you've patiently gone, Genesis is book 1 and Revelations is book 66. If you've read books 2 through 65, you'll see how God's real intention for not eating of the tree of life is because you needed all of that information in 2 through 65 so that you could celebrate the victory and really know why you're celebrating in your belief in God. I heard Pastor Winston in Chicago once say, if you ever doubt, I think it's a hard choice between good and evil, read the back of the book. We always win. So good will always win. God's love undoes everything. And that's why we so often hear that wisdom is in retrospect. and that we have to remember that God's love undoes everything. He undoes every single thing. So let's close out with one of the most popular blessing cycle stories in the Bible, and that is Moses in Exodus. Now, he was not the most gregarious person on the block. In fact, not only was he not very outgoing, Toastmasters hadn't been invented yet, and Moses wasn't very good at public speaking. Yet, without reading scripture, what I'll skip to is the fact that one thing we know about the wandering in the desert, the 40 years of wandering, that was not a part of the original plan. That was the consequence. That was the consequence of not trusting in the first 3 steps in the cycle: problem, prayer, and patience to get to the testimony. Are you genuinely trusting your track record to complete the cycle? And by the way, that doesn't mean that you're going to see the testimony. God only asks that you trust in the testimony. The Bible has no good stories. It has only good endings and lessons. Let that be the conscious story of your life. Calm yourself to enjoy today's gift of waking up again. You won't always know where you are in the cycle, yet you should always show your gratitude and belief in who controls the cycle and how he does it. Thank you to my co-authors, Daphne, Victor, Rogercarole, Lorenzo, Zet, Tina, Cecilia, Veronica Magazine, and Bob. And I look forward to thanking all of you with next week's message, which will feature the letter H. But before I do that, I see that we got some H words in the already. Vic's going to have as his, and he says goodbye by saying blessings to all. But have a good nest, morning, noon, or evening, wherever you are in your day. And more importantly, thanks for watching, engaging, and sharing Glue Wednesday, where you'll be reminded that we don't need to hump and get over. What we always need to do is find ways to keep it together. I'm Sporty King, and I'm glad to see you on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and this will also be posted on my website. If you got words that you want to be a co-author next week, drop it in the chat with an H. And there we go. We got Cecilia coming from the heart. Cecilia, I know you saw that you had 2 words in there this way. All right. All right. But thank you for having the heart. In fact, Vic, for having the heart to share the message and make sure that your message gets through to everybody. Thanks. God bless you and stay safe. Over and out. Ciao.